The wind carried the scent of burnt sage and dry blood as Eli McCade's horse picked its way through the alkali flats. 3 days without seeing another soul, just the endless stretch of Wyoming Territory and the weight of his own ghosts riding behind him. Then he saw the figure. At first, he thought it was a dead mule, the way it lay curled against the sun-bleached ribs of an old wagon. But as he drew closer, the shape moved. A girl, barely more than a child. Her scalp was shaved raw, the angry red flesh crisscrossed with scratches where she'd tried to claw the word off her own forehead. Unwanted. It wasn't ink. Someone had taken a hot knife to her skin, the letters seared deep enough to scar *Eli. Swung down from the saddle, his spurs ringing like funeral bells in the heavy silence. The girl didn't run, didn't even look up, just hugged her knees tighter. The tattered remains of a calico dress fluttering around legs gone blue with cold *Christ alive, Eli muttered, shrugging out of his duster. The moment the wool touched her shoulders, the girl came alive, scrambling back like a wild thing, her bare feet kicking up puffs of alkali dust. Her eyes were the color of storm clouds, wide with a fear Eli recognized. The kind that didn't fade? *I ain't one of them, Eli said, keeping his hands where she could see them. He'd learned that trick after Antietam, dealing with shell-shocked boys who'd forgotten what their own names sounded like. The girl's cracked lips moved. No sound came out. Eli uncorked his canteen. The water sloshed like liquid gold in the afternoon light. You drink first, then you tell me who needs killing. Her fingers brushed his as she took the canteen. That's when he saw the brand on her. Rista Crude B burned into the tender flesh, Blackwater, the last town before the territories turned truly wild. Eli had passed through there 2 summers back. Remembered the preacher with snake oil, eyes and the way the women all looked at the ground when men spoke. The girl drank like she was trying to drown herself. When she finally spoke, her voice was raspy as a rusted hinge. They called me devil's spawn. She touched the word on her forehead. Said I made the crops fail, made the babies cough blood? Eli's knuckles popped. He'd heard this story before. Different town, different girl, same damn ending. Only last time the girl had been his Mary. And by the time he'd ridden back from Cheyenne, all that remained were her boots swinging from the cottonwood branch. How many? Eli asked. The girl's eyes went distant. All of them. Even the children threw stones. The sun dipped behind the mountains, painting the alkali flats in blood-red light. Somewhere out in the gathering dark, a coyote yipped. Could have been laughing. Eli. Checked his Colt, full cylinder. You got a name? Lena. Lena, he repeated like it was a promise. You strong enough to ride? She looked at him then, really looked at him, and Eli saw something kindle behind those storm cloud eyes. Something that hadn't been there before. I'm strong enough to watch. Eli McCade hadn't believed in vengeance since the day they'd cut Mary down. But as he boosted Lena onto his horse, he felt the old familiar heat in his chest. Blackwater was 10 miles west, come sunrise. It would need a new name. The lanterns of Blackwater glowed like devil eyes in the distance. Eli kept Lena wrapped in his duster, her thin frame pressed against his back as the horse picked its way down the shale slope. He could feel her heartbeat through the wool rabbit, quick but steady. You remember names? Eli asked. The girl's breath was warm against his neck. Sheriff Cale, the preacher, they call him Brother Jubal. Her fingers tightened in the fabric of his shirt. The others. Just faces. Eli nodded. Faces would do. Men who burned words into girls usually liked to watch. They disowned at the livery on the town's edge. The stable boy took one look at Lena's shorn head and crossed himself. Eli dropped a silver dollar in the dirt at his feet. You saw nothing. The boy swallowed hard. Ain't seen a soul since sundown. Blackwater stank of wood smoke and lye. Eli counted 12 buildings along the main drag saloon, mercantile, a squat adobe. Church with its doors hanging open like a hungry mouth. The town should have been sleeping, but laughter spilled from the saloon's batwing doors. A celebration, asterisk Lena trembled beside him. That's where they ... asterisk Eli thumbed the hammer on his Colt. Stay behind me. Asterisk the saloon air hit them like a furnace. Blast tobacco, sweat, and the coppery tongue of fresh blood. A half-dozen men lounged around a table littered with whiskey bottles and playing cards. At the center sat a bear of a man with a sheriff's star pinned to his vest, peeling an apple with a bowie knife. Conversation died as Eli stepped inside. Well, I'll be damned, the sheriff drawled. His eyes locked on Lena. Thought we sent you. To meet your maker, girlie, asterisk Eli let the silence stretch. Let them notice the way his right hand hung loose by his side. You the one burned her? Asterisk Sheriff Kale grinned, showing teeth stained with tobacco. That there's community work. Ain't that? Right, boys. Asterisk chuckles rippled through the room. A gaunt man in a preacher's collar brother, Jubal leaned forward. The wages of sin is death, stranger. We showed mercy by letting this witch live. Lena made a sound like a wounded animal. Eli's voice dropped to a whisper. You don't know the meaning of the word. Asterisk the sheriff's knife thunked into the table. I think you best, Eli drew. The Colt barked twice. Sheriff Kale's left knee exploded, then his right. He hit the floor screaming. Asterisk chaos erupted. Men scrambled for weapons. Brother Jubal reached inside his coat. Asterisk. Don't. Eli's pistol never wavered. Lena, this the one held the iron? She nodded. Eli shot the preacher through the palm. The man's shriek mingled with his sheriff's moans. Christ have mercy. Asterisk, you should have shown her some. Eli kicked the table over, sending cards. And bottles flying, the remaining men froze. Any other heroes? No one moved. Eli dragged the weeping preacher up by his collar. You're gonna take us to your church. He glanced at the sheriff, writhing in his own blood. Bring him. Asterisk Lena's fingers found Eli's sleeve. What are you, asterisk, teaching them scripture? Eli's smile didn't reach his eyes. Eye for an eye. Asterisk outside, the wind carried the scent of coming rain. Somewhere in the dark, a dog howled. Asterisk Blackwater's reckoning had come. The church doors groaned like dying men as Eli kicked them open. The smell of burnt tallow and sweat rolled out thick enough to taste. Lena flinched at the threshold, her bare feet curling against the splintered wood. Asterisk here? She whispered. Asterisk Eli dragged Brother Jubal forward by his ruined hand. The preacher's blood left dark smears on the floorboards. This where they marked you? Asterisk Lena's fingers rose to her branded forehead. The answer was written in the way her breath hitched. Asterisk Sheriff Kale whimpered as Eli dumped him beside the pulpit. The lawman's legs were useless meat now, his fancy duster soaked through with blood. You'll hang for this, he spat. Asterisk Eli ignored him. His bootsteps echoed through the empty pews as he moved toward the altar. A cast-iron brazier stood cold beside the communion table, its surface still streaked with soot. Asterisk fetch rope, Eli told Lena without turning. From the stable, asterisk, she hesitated. You ain't gonna, asterisk, go. Asterisk, the moment the girl slipped out, Brother Jubal found his voice. She's bewitched you, son. That child's got the devils, asterisk. Eli backhanded him with the Colt. The preacher's head snapped back, teeth skittering across the floor like dropped dice. Asterisk. You ever wonder, Eli said, wiping blood from the revolver's barrel, what happens to men who play God? He didn't wait for an answer. By the time Lena returned, arms trembling under a coil of hemp, Eli had the brazier blazing. The flames threw monstrous shadows across the rafters, twisting shapes that made the sheriff piss himself. Asterisk. Please, Kale begged as Eli looped the rope. I got gold. Asterisk. Eli yanked the noose tight. You got nothing but what's coming. Asterisk. The first scream shook dust from the ceiling when the hot iron touched flesh. Lena watched from the doorway, her storm cloud eyes reflecting the firelight. She didn't look away when the branding iron sizzled, didn't flinch when the word unwanted bloomed red and angry on the preacher's forehead. Only when Eli turned to the sheriff did she speak. Let me... Asterisk her fingers were steady as they closed around the iron's handle. Steadier than Eli's had been? Ad antetum. Steadier than any child's had a right to be. The sheriff's shrieks didn't stop until dawn. Outside, the first real rain in months began to fall, washing the ashes from Blackwater's streets. It couldn't wash away the smell, though. That would linger, just like the scars. Eli stood in the church doorway, watching Lena stare at the two swaying shapes beneath the rafters. The girl touched her own forehead once lightly, like testing. A wound then turned away. Asterisk, we riding on? She asked. Asterisk Eli McCade looked at the girl who'd walked through fire and come out colder. Looked at the town that would wake to justice served. Asterisk, yeah, he said, settling his hat. We ride. Asterisk somewhere east. The sun was rising. The rain fell in silver sheets as they rode east, turning the alkali flats to a shimmering mirror. Lena sat, wrapped in Eli's duster, her shorn head bare to the weather. The water washed the soot from her skin, the blood from her hands. Eli counted the miles in silence. You ain't asked? Lena said suddenly, her voice cutting through the drum of rain on leather. Asterisk. Don't need to. Eli kept his eyes on the horizon, where the first pale streaks of dawn bled through. Asterisk. They weren't wrong about everything. Lena's fingers twisted in the reins. I did curse that boy. Asterisk. The Bay Mare snorted, dancing sideways as lightning split the sky. Eli steadied her with a quiet word before turning to study the girl. Her eyes were dark pools in the gray light, but they held no guilt. Only truth. Asterisk. His pa dragged my sister into the barn last spring, Lena continued. She was 12. When she told the preacher, they called her a liar and stoned her in the street. A grim smile touched her cracked lips. Took 3 months for the cough to kill that rancher's boy. 3 months of watching him spit up black bile. Asterisk. Eli thought of Mary swinging from that cottonwood. Thought of the way the mob had laughed when the rope snapped her neck. Asterisk. Good, he said simply. Asterisk. The rain slackened as they reached the rise overlooking Redemption Valley. Below them, smoke curled from homestead chimneys. A schoolmarm herded children across a muddy yard. Normal life. Asterisk. Lena stiffened behind him. You leaving me here? Asterisk. Eli considered the town. Considered the weight of his colt and the years of empty trails ahead. He'd buried too many ghosts to start carrying new ones. Asterisk. No. He turned the Moray north toward the wild country where men's laws didn't reach. Reckon I'm due an apprentice. Asterisk. Lena's arms tightened around his waist. The rising sun painted the brand on her forehead gold, not a mark of shame now, but a battle scar. A promise. Asterisk. Somewhere behind them, back in Blackwater, the church bell began to toll. A slow, mournful sound that carried on the wind. Asterisk. Eli didn't look back.